Hello, everybody.
Hi, how's everyone doing tonight?
Welcome back to another episode of Patient Heart.
Yes, we're excited to be back and thank you so much for all tuning in. This means so much to us and thank you for your support.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since we've recorded a podcast. We were just looking back on our last one that we recorded, and I'm excited to get back into it.
Yeah, me too. I love doing this,
I
especially with you.
oh, thanks, hon. I feel like we've kind of gone through a lot in the last couple weeks, anyways.
Yeah,
It felt like so tonight's gonna be a good recording. I always say that, but it's gonna be interesting.
it's always a good recording.
It is, yeah. They have been so far. That's for sure. Um, so tonight or today or whenever you're listening, we're talking about self-worth, self-love, and the impact it has on the creative process.
Yes.
So the reason this came, we have a list of things that we want to talk about and we will talk about. But the reason that this particular subject came up is I had a session with my sweet friend who's an astrologer, and we were just reflecting on what's happening in my astrology and in the world too. And what came up a lot, kind of wrapped up in a pretty little bow, was exactly what I've been experiencing, which is this kind of link between your self-worth, your self-love, and how you how it affects your creative process. So, I mean, I could get into the astrology of it because that interests me, but I won't bore you guys with that because I think there's a lot of depth to these topics without going super deep into astrology. But yeah, we're going to just talk about, like, Leon and I are at different stages, I feel like, of self-love, and I think we're at just different stages, different phases. So it'll be kind of interesting to bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we'll start off like when it comes to self-worth, what do you feel self-worth is?
Yeah.
What do you think about self-worth when it comes to you personally?
I just feel like it kind of takes me back. Like I'm like, I don't know how to answer that. And we were talking about this before we hit record. I'm like, I actually don't know. I feel like a lot of self-worth comes with self-trust and your ability to trust your intuition or your, what's that other word? Like gut feeling or
Intuition.
yeah, intuition would be
Yeah,
that word.
that's perfect.
Trust yourself. But also I feel like self-worth is like this really deep thing that I don't really know how to explain in a quick sentence. And it's something I feel like I've always thought I had, and then you realize you really don't. It was built up on a lot of other people's expectations of you.
Yes, and sometimes I feel like we all have it, but in today's age and time, with the world of Instagram and instant gratification, like your self worth can be destroyed in a matter of seconds, literally seconds.
Yeah.
Or it can be built up in a matter of seconds.
Totally.
And you post that reel or you post that picture and you get, you know,
And it pops off.
a like
and, yeah.
in like 2 seconds of just posting it.
Yeah.
And I don't think self worth should be relied on by other people.
Right.
Self worth, as in the name, is self.
Yeah.
So it's just you. But I feel like we look for self worth through other people, other things, telling us what we are worth, and that's where I think
We're
feel
missing
that
the mark a little.
I feel like we say, oh, you know what, I thought I had self worth. You did have it. It's just you lost it
once I gave it to someone else.
Once you gave it to somebody else, yeah. Someone dictated your self worth.
Yeah, and that's exactly where the conversation came from and where it was going. Is like, I'm at a point in my life, just turned 30, pregnant,
Big 30,
with a 1-year-old, and moving through what I feel like is the biggest probably transformation, on a deep level, but also like a really real level too. It's like, hey, this shit is happening. There's no going around having a 1-year-old and being pregnant and doing all of the things. But yeah, I feel like once I turned 30, and leading up to, I've just had so much time, I guess, or like awareness and reflection on the past and how I did give all my self-worth. It was like, hey, what can I do to make me worthy? Who can I please to make me worthy? Who can I, make sure is happy to make me worthy? Like, that's where I put all my self-worth. Whereas now I'm realizing like that's super unhealthy, and it's also not a foundation to build self-worth. It's not. It's like when you give away all of that, it becomes just worth, like conditional love and worth on other people's opinions of you, which you were speaking of, especially in our, like you said, in our instant world of
gratification.
Oh, it really can wreck you if you haven't built the foundation. So I think that's where I want to go. I'm still I got 1 foot in, 1 foot out at this point.
You'll get there, and like you said, like once you start trusting yourself and trusting who you are as a person, and even trusting your growth process.
Yeah.
Knowing that whatever happens in life, whatever curveballs are thrown at you, you will be able to handle them with absolute ease, or if it's not ease, no matter what, you'll be able to handle them.
Yeah.
And as those things come up and as you handle those things, your self-worth begins to build more and more, because you're like, wait a second, there's so many things in my life that have been thrown at me, and there's so many like I'm gonna say the word shit that I have to deal with, that I've dealt with, so I can basically handle anything. And you may have had some help from some people, but at the end of the day, it was your mindset that got you to go through that, instead of dipping into despair and dipping into self-loathing and all that stuff. Your mindset got you out of that. So you have to trust your mind, trust your heart, trust yourself. To build that self-worth. And
which I feel like is really hard when you have, like, I'm realizing that my relationship with my mind isn't maybe the healthiest. And that's one thing where I feel like you and I differ. You have a really strong mindset and the ability to be, to change the channel in your mind a lot quicker than I do.
Well,
but
I'm annoyingly positive.
Yeah.
I realize that, like,
he is annoyingly positive. I'm really grateful that you're super annoyingly positive, though, because it makes for a very lovely house and home and family. But I just feel I know, but I just feel like I lost my thought with her coming up here.
Yeah, our cats are joining the podcast.
Yeah, we've got, well, we're just missing one dog. Yeah. We've got we're actually finally doing this on the couch. Yeah. We're like, why are we sitting on rock hard chairs for an hour recording a podcast when we could easily sit on our couch? We have a laptop now. Yes. Okay, so back to this putting your self-worth in others. Like, the other thing too is, when we were talking about mentality, is like changing the channel in your mind. So what I feel like I really took away from the session that I had, which I think that you probably said to me many times, and I just didn't really probably take it in as well.
Sometimes you need a few people to tell you the same thing over and over again.
Sometimes you need to be literally beaten over the head with this concept or idea before it clicks. But to me, it was this, like, instead of, I'll give you an example, like the other day when Tala was eating that fucking chocolate and Lil was running around, and then she like smoked Lil, and it was just like a big shit show outside. Like, I was trying to do too many things. I was trying to please too many people, and it became overwhelming. And then I immediately got super upset because I A, couldn't handle it, and B, I was then failing everybody. And my mentality went from like, oh, it's a beautiful day, we're outside as a family, to like, I'm a terrible mother. I have no fucking grasp on these animals. My daughter's this, like, she's gonna think I'm this, or blah, 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 blah. And it just goes like in this spiral of like negativity. And that's really self-hate. There's no love in those statements. Right. So if that situation happens, which is fucking inevitable, because we're humans and we're parents and we have way too many animals, that's when you can really make the shift from like the negative self-talk to, okay, I'm having a moment, it's part of the process, it's okay. And I think that's where the self-love or self-worth can kind of start. You can start building a foundation of that if you are able to, like, change the channel, but easier said than done. I can say that now when I'm not upset and in the heat of the moment and feeling like, you know.
And it comes with definitely practice. And like,
yeah.
What really frustrates me and grinds my gears is when people say they can't change.
Yes.
But you can. Like, all these things are muscles that you can build. It's just like working on a muscle.
Yeah.
And each time something may come up, or each time you feel your self-worth that it goes down, you'll be able to get out of those moments quicker the more you practice it.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people don't understand that, and it's hard to, like, you know, I'll use an example. Like, we're in I played pretty high level soccer when I was younger, and we had a tournament, and I remember just being super jittery at this one game, and I was just I was off, and I
Do you mean jittery isn't like anxious a little bit?
Yeah,
or just
anxious and like lack of confidence in myself in this one game, and I made a pretty big mistake. So the ball was on over at our end, so our goalie was gonna pick up the ball, and I kind of didn't trust that to happen. So
you scooped it.
I scooped it in my own hands, and as a player, you can't scoop it in your hands. And I scooped it in the penalty box area. So doing that, the other team gets a penalty shot. If someone misses a penalty shot, like it's kind of like, okay, how did you miss that? You know,
it's pretty rare.
It's pretty rare, right? And it's penalty shots it's given to you basically. It's kind of like a breakaway. It's kind of like having a penalty in hockey. Like, you have 4 against 5. Like, you should score a goal 5-on-4, right? You should score a goal when you have penalty shot. There's no one stopping you. It's just you, 7 yards out, and the net is huge, right? So I gave that free goal to that team, and I just remember feeling so down, and my self-worth was just shot, and I felt like, oh man, like I'm never gonna get out of this. But I had to basically get my shit together because I had another game like another hour after, right? So we play tournaments, you have 3 or 4 games in a day, and I had to like get out of that because that would have affected my next game, and I would have been like, I can't play.
And it would have been like a spiral effect of negative thoughts that just like paralyzed you.
Yeah. So like, basically I said, okay, Leon, you fucked up. Now you're gonna fix it. So this next game that you have, you're gonna score 2 goals. You're gonna make up for that 1 goal, and you're gonna, I think I ended up scoring 3 goals in that one. We ended up winning that tournament because our team was freaking amazing. But
despite you using your hands,
despite using my hands, yeah. I don't know what happened. Like, I was not trusting my goalie, and I wasn't trusting everything around me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. But then by me doing that, I freaked out. So I lost it. So when you freak out, you kind of lose all grasp on the situation. Like,
and your natural instincts, which you like just go into a game having.
Yeah, and like, you're not supposed to grab the balls with their hand if you're a player. Only the goalie can grab the balls with his hands.
Lil thinks she can grab the ball with her hands.
She can be a great goalie. And so that is part of it. Like, when you're seeing everything happen, you're kind of losing control on everything. Yeah. You start to lose your own self-worth, and you're so I can understand the whole spiral effect, and then the trust just kind of goes away completely.
It really breaks the trust, like, immediately.
Yeah. So it's like, how can I catch this moment quick enough? Because things are gonna come in life. So like, how can I catch this moment quick enough so things don't topple on it, and then you're just adding more to it. And when you add too much to it, then you're just kind of like, it's hopeless.
Yeah,
it's hopeless now. Yeah. So it's just catching yourself before, and then building that muscle, that self-worth muscle.
And that's, I feel like, building a foundation, like, that's your natural reaction as opposed, or your natural response, I'll say, as opposed to a reaction of like, trying to control, or like, you were really trying to control the situation.
Oh, I was trying to control the entire game. It was an intense game, and I was trying to control it. And then the shitty part about it, at the end of the game, the team came up to me, and they're shaking my hands like, "Oh, thanks, buddy." It's just like, "Oh, fuck, are you serious?"
Just like rub it in.
Just rub it in, yeah. Like, "Oh man, we wouldn't have won that game without you." It's just like, and you can know you let your team down.
It's like a layer of shit on another layer.
So you just like, but what I do, like, I could have said to my coach, "Okay, coach, like, I don't think I should play the next game, or whatnot." I didn't end up starting the next game because I did make a mistake and stuff like that, and I understand. Yeah. But when I got onto the field, I played my heart out and I scored 2 goals, and I was like, okay, we're gonna.
You changed the channel in that
just
situation.
my mind had to be in a different way. So it's just how quick can you change that from, okay, I feel shit. I don't feel any self-worth. I feel, like loads.
Like you failed. That's the feeling.
I failed myself, and I failed my team, and I failed my
Yeah.
coach. So like it's just a big failure. Can you get your mind to be like, I am worthy. I'm worthy to get my starting position back. I'm worthy of playing this game. I'm worthy of scoring those goals. I'm worthy of winning this game for my team. That's where
I feel like there has to be some as well. There has to be some self or some like compassion for yourself. Like we are humans.
Yeah.
We're just trying to live, as much as I'd rather be up in the clouds, which we talk about, and just like in a different, realm, but like we're human, and at that point you didn't have kids or anything, so it's not like you weren't a parent or all these other labels that we have, but like, you're under pressure, you're a human, people fuck up, so how can you be compassionate for that aspect and then also spin it on its head, and it's like, Kate,
I think compassion for yourself should come first.
Yeah.
Being compassionate for yourself is very important. It's being like, well, okay, yeah, I did mess up, but it's okay. I'm going to mess up.
Yeah.
I'm a human.
Yeah.
I'm going to have some moments that I can't handle. That's okay. I'm human.
Yeah, and like loving yourself through that, right? Because we're also talking about self-love and self-worth, which I feel like go hand in hand.
They go definitely hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yes, they definitely do. And like being kind, just saying kind words to yourself.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, the power of our minds is incredible, and the more we tell ourselves we're shit, the more we are, or we act like we are. Like it's inevitable that you're going to brainwash yourself into thinking you're a terrible human the more shit you tell yourself.
Exactly, because it's like you're basically telling yourself, why even try?
Yeah.
If it's gonna go wrong anyways, why even try? Yeah. It's like walking into work and you're like, this job is shit.
You're setting it up.
Your job's gonna be shit. And like, if your job is shit, change it. Yeah. if you can and stuff like that, but like definitely change it. Or you can walk in and be like, okay, like I have 1,000 emails to look at, because I did have 1,000 emails one time. Took over a store and I had 1,000 something emails to look at. And I had to go through every single one of them, and I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be the worst day." Because
you literally hate emails.
I don't like being in an office. Like I don't like office work whatsoever, and emails just reminds me of being in the office. Yeah. So it's pretty much goes hand in hand. I like to move my body and everything like that. So
Leon can't sit still.
Yeah. So right now I'm sitting still. But that's okay.
You're fidgeting
a little bit here and there.
Yeah, scratching your ear every once in a while, combing your beard with a pick.
And it's like, oh, how am I getting this? I was like, I don't want to do all those emails. And then that day went in, I was just like, oh, it just felt like garbage. And then next day, I'm going to get these emails done and get my shit together. And then I can start doing things on the floor. Got those emails done. It took me 6-7 hours to go through all those emails. Most of them were junk email.
Oh, that's good.
A few of them were important that I had to hand off, and there's nothing I could do about it, but those are the people that could handle it, were notified and they could handle it. But it's just your mindset going in there and it's like, okay, I'm going to handle this, and then I'm going to go do what I want to do. Yeah. And like just trusting yourself that you can handle it, I
feel like for me, it's like when those moments come up of me losing control of my emotions and like getting angry or frustrated, it's such a huge like trigger and like spiral of shame and shit show energy that like, that's immediately like a failure for me. And so that's not a compassionate way of managing my emotions. It's really judgmental for me to be like, you're not allowed to get angry. You're not allowed to get frustrated. It's again, we come back, we're human, we're parents, we have a lot of fucking animals, and I actually have a short fuse and a really like a huge lack of patience, which is something I need to learn. But
no, it comes with time.
No, it comes with like birth, and I never got it, and I don't know if I'll ever get it.
Well, I have a very, very long fuse.
Leon is the most patient man.
Yeah, sometimes I wait too long.
It
could be a detriment.
Can go either way.
Yeah,
I mean, it did take us like 10 years to get together, didn't it?
Yeah, but
You were like,
that happened at the right time though.
That's
That
true.
was perfect
Because
timing.
gosh, if we got together in college,
That was perfect
but
timing.
you were like ultra patient. You pushed that a little.
Mm-hmm.
You pushed it. You stretched it out.
I gotta sometimes.
I guess so.
Sometimes.
We figured it out. But yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And then another thing we want to discuss is like self-worth in when it comes to your own creative process.
Oh yes, of course. It's the whole purpose of this.
Yeah. And so like that's huge because I feel like nowadays everyone's trying to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Which is I think is beautiful and they should.
I do. I agree. I feel like this past couple years of outer world chaos has showed so many people the importance of self-sufficiency, the importance of doing your own thing and staying at home if you feel like it. I'm not like voting for that or like that's not a political thing. It's just like you know, in my case, like I don't want to go back to work. We have a daughter. I want to be at home with her. But it's definitely, I think, showed people that it's easier than we thought it was to be our own boss, to do our own, to produce things, to create things. But along with that and the instant media world, it's been a challenge, I think, on our psyches. And I think it's been a challenge on our nervous system to like produce, create, love ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, deal with the outer world, deal with the inner world.
Yeah, exactly. And things sometimes when you are in a creative process and you're either selling something or making something or just creating something as a whole, you want people to quote unquote buy it, but they're not buying the product or the thing, they're buying you. And that can mess with your self-worth quite a bit because
really
you're like,
it does.
It's like, oh my goodness, like what did I do wrong that they didn't want this? You know, because like we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to put ourselves into something that we love. Like there's a million different photographers out there. But why do you choose a certain photographer to do your weddings, right? Why do you choose a certain photographer to do your baby's pictures? Yes, they have like nice lighting. Yes, they know how to edit really well. But you pick the person. Like you look at the person, you're like, wow, this person seems like they're really good. And you talk with them and you interview them basically. And you are basically, this is the person I want to work with.
The way that I see it is like there's a million people doing bracelets, yoga, readings, everything that I do on a creative level. There's a million, if not more, people doing that. So it has to be they're buying my energy from it or whatever. Like I don't know how to put that, but like you were just saying, like I'm not really selling myself because it is. I guess it's my art, you know, and my teaching style and my.
Like, why are people going to Krista? Yeah. It's just the way you bring to it, and like.
But that's
trusting what you bring to it, and trusting that you are great at what you do, and trusting that you like the self-love that you have for yourself, and that you can the reading that you do for somebody. You say you're going to put your whole heart into it. Yeah. You know, that is what. You know that you're going to be doing, and they're going to feel that energy from you.
Yes.
You know?
But I feel like with the last little bit and what I've kind of been moving through, it's really pulled me out of that state of like, oh, I am selling no, I know I'm selling myself, but what I'm selling doesn't feel like, I don't even know what word to say. Like, it just doesn't feel confident. You know, like say I want to do a reading or like put out a reading offer for the full moon. And I do it with wholehearted intention, but there's such a depth of this like lack of self-love or trust or worth that kind of comes to the surface with stuff like that, I feel. You know?
And you sometimes end up you like could scare yourself out of doing something. Yeah.
And if it's not instantly gratified via Instagram, then your heart breaks. Like an example, I launched my bracelet business, or not my bracelet business, my bracelet line. And like I was expecting to sell out. Like that was my expectations because I wanted to. I knew they were, and I know they are beautiful, intentional bracelets. But my mental state at that time and where I was on a confidence level was low. And so when they didn't sell out the first day, I was like, well, I fucking suck. And my designs suck. And I tried too hard and I failed, is where my mind goes, because that's my foundation right now, which I know is not healthy. But, you know, when you put yourself out there in a creative way, there's so much vulnerability too, that if you can build a foundation of self-love, that's where... Can you guys hear that?
Sorry, our dog Emma's thirsty.
Like, have you not drank all day?
She knows that we're doing a podcast right now. She's like, oh, what can I do to
She's
piss
literally
them
not
off?
drank all day. And she comes and does this now. Oh my god.
Anyway,
Anyway.
when you I like the same happened to me. I'm like with my Alberto, I was like put them on sale to clear these ones out.
Yeah.
People are gonna buy them. I'm gonna have, like, you know, because like I had a few reels on my Instagram that popped off.
Yeah.
So I was feeling to myself, okay, like this is good. Like I have thousands of people knowing that I make beard oils, and I ship worldwide. So I should be able to get rid of these boxes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I sold two to two friends.
Yeah.
And
which is like cool, but also
awesome. Like I was so happy and so grateful for that. But like, your mind, you think like, oh, so I'm gonna sell 10, and you sell 2, and then like you're excited about those 2, but then you're also like,
there's a
at the end of the day, you're like, oh man, like, you know, maybe my prices are too high, or like maybe my design is wrong, or maybe, and you start to like question everything that you're doing, everything that you're, and you lose trust.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I didn't want to interrupt, but that's exactly what came in my mind.
Yeah, you lose trust in what you can create and what you have to offer. And the thing is, we don't see the struggle or the journey that people that are successful, what they kind of went through. No one really shows that, but I'm gonna start showing that, and that's just really important to me, is that everyone sees like
the whole story,
the work that goes into something. Or, you know, like I ended up starting another YouTube channel, and my first YouTube channel, I was like, in my head, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna create one video and I'm gonna get 1 million views on it. Like I literally thought that. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous saying that out loud, but I literally thought that. I was just like, yeah, I'll, you know, create, and I'll probably like, I'll get monetized within like, you know, 6 months or whatever. Because like there's people out there and they make videos and then they're like, you know, they get 25,000 views on this and stuff like that. And I'm like I'm gonna be honest with you, like I really love myself, not in like a cocky way, but no. Like, I love myself. Like it's like, oh, you know, I'm a pretty cool dude.
No, you are,
and stuff true. Like that.
You got it figured out.
So when that didn't happen, like I just like was so deflated. Like my head was like a balloon, and all of a sudden just like womp womp, you know. But like that's just, I was looking at people that were like 1 million subscribers, comparing, and you know, but like I was thinking to myself, is like they all had their journey, you know. They all started somewhere from zero. Like, so I'm starting at zero, and I'm gonna work my way up. Yeah. And I know that at the end of the day, I'm gonna hit that 1 million subscriber mark. Like I'm very confident about it, but it's gonna take some time, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, when it comes to self-worth and stuff like that, we want to help people. Yeah. That's what it's all about. Bring it back to helping people and serving others, and feeling good in your heart that you did the right thing, and you know, you may have changed someone's life. Yeah. To be honest, like and changing people's lives is amazing. But
I don't think you always know that you do. That's the other thing too. Mm-hmm. Like, you heard through the grapevine that one of your videos impacted someone. Mm-hmm. That really touched your heart.
Oh man, I was so elated.
Right, but you would have never known that if she'd never told you, because there was such distance between you and that person. So it's like, you know, if you really zoom out, what you're sharing from your heart center, from your heart space, can really touch a lot of lives. And that's ultimately what I feel like you and I are doing. I know there's a lot of other people doing, but that's ultimately like the goal. Mm-hmm. Talk about goals. Let's not, because we just posted a podcast about it, but you know, like that's what it's all about. And so if you can do that and make that happen from a place of authenticity and self-love and self-trust, then it becomes more widely received, I feel, but also people are going to hear it and they're going to feel it, as opposed to just like, you know, just talking about shit you don't actually incorporate in your life, or do, or feel, or
exactly. And like a little bit of self promotion going on here right now. But like, if you ever want to check out my YouTube channel, go to Leon Anthony Price.
Is it Leon Anthony Price?
Leon Anthony Price, yeah, put that on there.
I like that.
I might change the name to Leon Lee Talks with Lee, because it's just.
You know what though? I think we can link stuff on our thing, so we're gonna link it.
Okay, we'll link it. Yeah,
we're gonna link it,
and I'm gonna link my podcast. I also have these podcast episodes on here, so if you have any friends
on
that
YouTube
don't have
stuff.
Apple.
Yeah, we should figure out another platform that could
I have a few platforms in my head. I'm a researcher, so I research everything. But yeah, so I'll link those on there too, so you can share that as well.
We should start doing links in the show notes so that people can find us.
Yes.
Not that we're on social media.
No.
Right now.
I'm not too much on it. I don't think I'll go back to it, to be honest. But I think Krista is really good at it, and she's really, you know.
I am in the process of establishing a better relationship with social media. Better boundaries, better energy towards it, better, like, more clarity. So I'm just taking some time.
Yep. And then believing in your own self-worth and not having random strangers
pick me up.
Dictate that.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, like I said, we do want to help people. That's what the goal is always, is to help someone, or for someone to be like, you know what, I'm going through that as well. Like, let's
to just feel seen too,
let's go through this together.
Yeah.
And that's like the whole journey. It is for me anyways.
Yeah.
Going through
it is. I even can think about it from like launching my bracelets and stuff. Like, that was my way of putting my heart into that creation and sharing it, so that, like, collectively we raise our vibes. I know that sounds cheesy and like overused, but that's where I was going. I hoped that it could help, and I still do. It can help others feel into those higher vibrations, which we're going to do another talk on. That's a whole other
conversation. It's a beautiful conversation. I can't wait to have that one.
Yeah, that was going to be tonight, and then I got sidetracked with this, which I feel like is kind of...
It's okay.
It's working.
Yeah.
It's working and flowing.
Talk about what you're passionate about at that moment in time, and it'll come through.
I said the other night when we were having a good conversation, we've had a good conversation before bed, we've had a good conversation in the vehicle. I'm like, where's our mic? We need to be recording this. Because these are kind of just combos.
Yes, yeah. And it's beautiful. Like, I love the whole podcasting thing because in a way I feel like I'm building my self-worth even greater, because this is something I never thought I would ever do. Yeah. You know?
Leon's not a talker.
But I never talked more in my life.
Yeah. Well, you got with me, so...
Yeah. She asked
Something happened.
She asked a lot of questions, and
tell me how you feel. Let's
I'm like,
talk.
Good.
Yeah.
How's your heart energy? Oh, it's beating.
How's your heart? It's beating.
Yeah, it's beating. Like, that's literally me to a T. But
man.
No, this is
maybe I've cracked you open a little.
She cracked me open, and but to be honest, it's because I never felt like I ever had anything important to say.
Right.
You know, and like when I started this YouTube channel again, I was just like, oh man, like, who's gonna want to listen to this guy?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes my voice is so low, no one can understand me, or I talk too fast, no one's gonna understand me. So why even try? You know. And then I said, like, no, fuck that. You know, the more I practice, the more I do this, the better my voice will sound. The more I'll slow down, and I'm gonna be able to nail this out of the park. I had to trust myself.
Yeah, because you had that idea. That was an instinct to do this. Like, you gotta come, you know, if we're really gonna trust ourselves, you have to, like, lean into those things that actually, you know, that, like, muscle test we did with the oracle cards. Like, you kind of have to lean into things that you feel like are good for you or are right for you.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like a pretentious asshole, but I feel like I'm sent here to help people.
Yeah, I don't
like,
think that's
at the end of the day, like, I'm, like, my journey on this, like, my whole, I don't know, but, like, my purpose, my journey is to help people, and because I had gone through some shit. And like, but I made it out on the other side, like,
so positive, like, so happy.
A few scars, bruises, but freaking happy as can be. I have a loving family. I have a beautiful daughter. I have another awesome baby on the way.
Aww.
And 4 beautiful animals that are sometimes a pain in the ass, but I love them.
Like, most times.
But I'm probably the biggest pain in the ass in the entire house, so I can't really say shit about
Literally,
that.
I just Windex the mirrors. I Windex the goddamn mirrors daily. I vacuum the house daily. Dog hair and toothpaste splatters are going to be the...
Beard hairs everywhere.
Beard hairs? You know what, though? They've been less since you shaved your beard.
Yes, yeah.
He shaved.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, it's just...
Yeah.
What kind of story are you telling yourself?
Yeah.
What kind of things, like what's taking over your mind. And
Yeah.
you all have a voice. You all have something to share. You all have art in your body and can create. Everything is art. I heard that today and I was like, yeah, everything is art.
Yeah, it is.
Everything is creativity.
Art isn't dead. I heard someone say that and I was like, you know what? That's really bleak.
No.
It's a bleak way of putting things. I'm not talking
art.
about fancy fine arts.
No.
I'm talking about like heart-centered sharing, you know, your creativity.
Yeah. So,
which I feel like this is a kind of a part of our creative outlet is this podcast and just sharing from our hearts.
Exactly. And doing this together is like building my self-worth.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I can juggle a whole bunch of things and still be a great partner and a great father. Yeah. And still do my own thing.
If I do say so myself, I feel like ever since I feng shuied our room into our room is in the romance and love section, and I just made it full of love. All our loving pictures. Yeah,
this whole family's full of love.
It is. We don't just need it in our room, but I do feel like that's really. But I was gonna say too, I was just thinking about when you were talking about self-worth, and like putting it in other people. Like, we're doing this podcast together. I don't think we're like egoically putting egoically like making each other feel like we're worthy in that way. But I was thinking when we first got together, like how much of my worth, because it was so fragile after going through separation, like moving through divorce, all of that turmoil, I like gripped so tightly onto how you made me feel. And which I'm so grateful that I had like a loving partner that wasn't toxic, and you know, but like I was hung up on how you made me feel because my self-worth was so low. And that's when I think to myself, like, have I ever had it? I don't know.
You had it. You had it.
I'm thinking like when, but then I'm also thinking like I've been special my whole life and different my whole life, but I've used that language like unique and black sheep, we talked about this earlier, in such a negative way. Or I used it in what I thought was positive, but because there was undertones of negativity in it, it really kind of, that's the story I told myself. I'm like unique, no one gets me. I had tons of people that liked me in high school and that I liked. I was like part of I jumped from group to group to group. I never like had a clique, but I also never had a clique. Like I just never really felt like I belonged in any of them, you know? And that's part of, I think, what I'm feeling now in the journey that I'm in, you know, family-wise and stuff like that. Like, just one moment, please. Okay, we're back. Little Miss woke up for 2 minutes.
Second. Yeah. Like, that was so funny. She was like sleeping on her knees and I picked her up and then she all of a sudden like her body went like dead weight. And sorry, I farted. I farted.
Oh my god, brought it to me. Like so mean.
Fuck, I love farting around you. It's amazing.
It's so awful.
She overreacts like, oh my god.
Oh, okay, be a pregnant woman and just like ask how you smell.
You're killing me.
Seriously. Between you and Lil, oh my god. And the dogs. Yeah. Well, I guess just Tala. It doesn't really toot, but anyways, shit, we'll get back on topic because I feel like we've got a good flow going here. What were we talking about before?
Self-worth.
We talked about self-worth for 30 minutes. No, I just think we were talking about, I actually don't remember now.
Yeah, Lil interrupted that little wiener.
Yeah.
Kids don't have them, just kidding. They're amazing.
No, they're the best.
But yes, so we'll go into like, so when it comes to your self-worth and like your creativity.
Oh yeah.
And understanding that like, that you are selling yourself. But you also got to know that the right people will come to you.
Yeah.
The people that need you. Exactly what I was just going to say. Will come into your life. Just keep thinking positive and keep telling yourself what you have to offer.
Yeah. Like great. Put value on what you have to offer. I think that's huge. You know, this is one thing that kind of always messed with my brain a little bit, was like these tarot readers or astrology readers who would charge like $900 an hour. And I was always like, whoa, holy shit. But like, these people have put in endless hours of study and readings and all of these things to build. Now, that may be quite dramatic, and I don't know if that's a little bit on the delusional side or not. I don't really know what. I know what I pay for astrology sessions, and it's not $900, but you know, it's like, if it's finding your self-worth, valuing that, valuing the time, the energy, like the love you put into products, not selling yourself short.
Never sell yourself short.
Never sell yourself short, but be confident, and be confident in what you're putting out there. Like, you know, when my bracelets didn't sell out in the first day, I was like, they're overpriced. Okay, they're not. Like, they're really not. For what they are, for how much love I put into them, you know, they're really not. And so coming back to that, like, this is where I feel like there's a huge link between your worth and your creative projects. You know, like, if we put out this podcast every week and criticized it and said we're not good enough to do a podcast, we don't have the proper equipment, we don't articulate enough, we don't what do you think it's never gonna pop off. People are never gonna feel that passion from us.
Yeah, and the more we do, the better that we're going to get.
Exactly.
And to trust and like having self-trust, and going back to like the $999 readers out there, they trusted themselves, and the thing is, they also trusted that the right people would come to them.
Yeah,
you know,
they have that relationship with the universe. You know, I feel you've got it.
So anything that you're creating, anything you feel like it's got to be perfect, or this is got to be lined up the right way, it doesn't, because you're only going to stop yourself from doing it, and you're only going to stop the people that need you. Yeah. In their lives, you're going to stop them from finding you.
I remember a few times, truthfully many times, because I was like a full-time yoga teacher at one point in my life, where I would go into practice feeling so shaky, and like I had a day, say you and I, because we were long distance for a while, like you and I had something going on that wasn't resolved and I carried it, or God knows, everything and anything could have happened, but I had to show up. I committed to it. There's very few times I ever backed out of a class because of an emotional thing. But I remember I was so shaky, you know, in my confidence to be a good teacher. And it ended up that those classes, because of how raw and vulnerable I felt, were like some of my best, or what I would think were my best, because it was like I had been cracked wide open emotionally. I had to show up because it was a job, and I was, you know, but I had the trust in myself that I could still do it, or I would have pulled out, because I have a couple times had to pull out of, you know, not feeling 100%, but it's just like trusting myself to show up. And then the things that I would say in those classes would be profound to even me. So I can't imagine the student, you know, being like, whoa, what's she tapping into right now? Yeah. Just heartbreak and despair, no biggie.
Exactly. And everyone they have so much to share, and don't ever hold your voices back, because you may not pop off like you were expecting to pop off, but you're going to pop off eventually. You're going to do great things, and you're going to help so many people.
The more time and love and effort you put into something from a place of authenticity and your self-worth, the further things are going to go. I feel. But that's what we wanted to talk about, was like how to build that, you know, how to build your self-worth. And I feel like we touched on that with like changing the channel of the thought patterns. That's important.
Catch yourself before it gets too out of control.
Too deep in the
Do things each day that make you happy and make you feel at one with yourself. Do things by yourself. You know, sometimes take a moment by yourself, enjoy the wind, enjoy the grass beneath your feet, enjoy going for a drive. Like,
you're really good at like doing things on your own. You're more independent than I feel like I am.
At those moments alone, like I miss you guys.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just like, I can't wait to get back and just communicate with my family and call my daughter and
I know.
Bug the dogs and tease them.
You guys were gone for like over 2 hours today, and I was in the thick of like really intense but also beautiful astrology work where it was like I was hyper focused on that, but I was also like, hey, where are they? But I do think it's important to do things on your own and do things for yourself.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the self-love and self-worth comes from taking care of yourself and knowing what that means. You and I take care of ourselves in different ways. You know, like I actually am starting to love driving now that we live out here and we have to drive 40 minutes to get into town. But like sometimes I'll just go with Lil. She's needing a nap. I'm needing to clear my head, and it's the perfect thing. You know, but finding ways to take care of yourself that is good for you, that can really get you on a path of like, you know, self-love, self-care, but also like trusting that you know what you need too. That's huge.
Yeah, finding out what you need personally.
Yeah.
And knowing that you can make yourself happy.
Yeah.
Is probably one of the most powerful things you can do for your mind and for your own self-worth.
Totally.
And then you can bring that positivity, that joy, that love to the table, especially if you're creating something.
So what are your thoughts on like people who have low self-worth, and how do you feel around people like that?
I just want to help them.
Yeah.
I just want them to see the beauty that I see, and I know that's I see beauty in everything, which is kind of like, like, you know, it's just, there is beauty in everything and there's beauty in everyone, and I have a hard time seeing people sad because I believe everyone deserves to be happy.
And you're like a really happy person, so it's hard to see people.
And I always joke, like, even when I'm sad, I'm happy.
Yeah,
and
it's fucking annoying. No, I'm just kidding.
It probably is. I've been told I'm annoyingly positive, and I'll keep being annoyingly positive.
It's only annoying because when you feel sad, you can still feel happy. That's like a very multitasking, emotionally mature way. When I feel sad, I feel like death is upon me. Like there's no light in this dark hole that I crawl into. Like where you're just like, you know what? It's been a hard day. I had a moment, but life is great. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like there's just, I asked you that because I feel like for me, when I'm around people who have low self-worth, which is like a lot of people struggle with that. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and it's nothing to, you know, get even harder on yourself about. But like, I really pick up on it, and my insecurities come out huge time. So I think it's so important for me as a woman, as a person, as a mother now, to build that self-worth so that when Lil looks at me, she doesn't see a lack of self-worth. So like we can show her through our foundation and our other baby and our friends and our family and the people that matter in our life and the people who we don't even know. You know,
I'm kind of selfish. Like if I'm feeling good, everybody has to feel good. Sort of thing. Like you're not.
You have a good way of rubbing off on people, though.
No, like that. Everyone's allowed to feel what they're supposed to feel, and I want to just.
You're getting better at like being okay with uncomfortable emotion.
Yeah, I'm like working on being vulnerable myself and stuff, and being like and trusting myself that I can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And because I have this messed
I think we should
mentality.
do a whole podcast on vulnerability.
No, yeah. I'll do a very good talk on vulnerability on my channel. Sometime I'll do a good podcast on that because you taught me how to be vulnerable. Yeah, you taught me how to be vulnerable because.
But do you feel like I'm not vulnerable anymore though?
No, you're still vulnerable.
Okay, good. Because I was like, did I just give it all to you?
No.
Okay, good.
But yeah, just trusting yourself and loving yourself, being kind to yourself, saying kind words to yourself.
I think that really has to start with taking care of you, whatever that is.
And like, take a break from Instagram. Take a break from Twitter. Take a break from TikTok.
Take a break from the things that make you feel
unworthy.
A fake. Like a fake amount of self-worth, or I don't know if I'm saying that right, but like a false sense of self-worth.
Yeah, false self-worth. Yeah.
You know, if you like,
like,
if you put all your worth in an Instagram post, it's pretty likely you may feel a little bit shitty after it doesn't pop off.
Yeah, like I remember listening to this. I listened to Joe Rogan quite a bit, and I remember listening to this one guy was talking about his daughters and how they're on Instagram. And they're 13 or 14, and he was saying that one of his daughters posted a picture and didn't get like 1,000 likes in an hour or something like that, and like a friend got like 1,000 likes in like 20 minutes or something like that, and she ended up deleting that picture. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like think to myself, it's like,
You wouldn't have an account if we didn't rely on that.
I'm like, I've never had 100 likes on something.
You should be flattered. Someone hacked your account. That's how awesome you are.
Someone hacked my account. They're like, wow, this guy's got it. I had like what?
You had like under 300 followers, not a lot of posts, and you got hacked. But you know what? It's a good thing. They thought that they could reach people.
Flattery. Absolutely. And I just couldn't imagine like putting my self-worth in something such as like that. Posting a picture, and it doesn't get 1,000 like in an hour. Yeah. Like, oh my goodness, like.
I think it's sad because I do feel like that could be a bit of a trajectory for that younger generation. So that's, again, it comes back to like our ability as parents raising young children in the world of technology. I don't want to have to, live under a rock. Like, they're going to have to, go to school and have a laptop and have social media sites, whatever they may be when they're that age. But like, if we build a foundation within ourselves, which you have, I feel, and I'm working on it, then they don't need that shit. It's just like enhancements in their life, It's just like maybe they use social media the right way and they just communicate with their friends like it's fucking meant to be.
Or they put out love and light into the world.
Exactly.
And they put out stuff that may help other people.
Yeah.
And
I hope our little babies are like light workers and they just are so sweet and inspiring.
I think they will be if their parents are. I think when you said like that I have like figured it out or figured like my self-worth, it's honestly a everyday thing. I don't think I'll ever
fully master it.
But I think that's part of the journey. It's not to fully master it.
And it's also accepting that you might not fully master it.
Yeah. And just being like, some things are going to come up in life, and I'm going to trust myself that no matter how hard it gets, that I will be able to get myself out of that rut, get myself back on my feet,
and love yourself through it. Yeah.
And just trust that I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, trust yourself, people.
Yeah.
Put your self-worth in yourself.
Yeah. That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
Like, really value your specialness.
Yeah. Like if you have a shitty boyfriend or a shitty girlfriend, get rid of them.
Value yourself enough to be around people who uplift you. Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah. Can you be like COVID? Once COVID hit, there's so many divorces and stuff like that, and so many breakups. It's because people kind of start to see that like, wow, this person doesn't value me, and I'm looking at this person to make me happy, and I'm not happy.
And I'm not happy, and now I'm at home sitting with my shit. Like I have a whole bunch of opinions on what's been happening over the past couple of years, but the thing I will say is it has, in a way, I feel like, helped us and enlightened us and awakened us, a part of us that's realizing the importance of purposeful living, self-worth, prosperity, and like self-sufficiency. The list goes on about the things we have learned from being in a really shitty situation.
Yep.
Collectively.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's pretty good, hon.
Yeah. That was good. That was fun.
That was fun.
Okay, I'm just looking at the time. I'm like, okay, we didn't do an hour and 11 minutes like last time.
Close though.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, just trust yourself, love yourself, be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Know that you are worthy of great, great things, and whatever you have to share, the right people will find you.
Yeah, and it's important.
And you're gonna help so many people.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for listening. We love that you are supporting us, and this is so much fun for us to do. And
it is so much fun, and it's also, I think, really healing. I don't want to get too deep in, emotional and feely and all that stuff, but like I do feel like it's really healing to have these conversations and to speak what we think, or like share what we have private conversations about, on a bigger scale. Hopefully a bigger scale. Who knows?
Yeah, and eventually someday we're going to be huge.
We actually had our spare room as a yoga space, and then turned it into a spare room, and then just turned it back into a
little office.
Now it's called a studio. Studio room. Because we're valuing ourselves, and we're giving ourselves the space to do what we love, to create.
Yep. You got to create. You should create. Everything is create. Everything is art.
Everything's art.
Art is beautiful. Art is love.
Yeah.
We are love.
It's a beautiful way to share your heart with the world. So let's just keep that up.
Yes. Thank you so much. We love you.
Yeah, thanks,
Have
guys.
a wonderful, wonderful day, night, or evening.
Evening, afternoon, morning.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.